Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to present on Streptanthus. My name is Jensen. I'm a graduate student at Rancho and a Botanic garden, and this is a portion of my dissertation research that is kind of in its formative period. The Streptanthus howellii alliance is a group of 8 or 9 taxa, depending on circumscription, that shares some morphological characters. These are Streptanthus that are unlike many other Streptanthus. They are perennial, and they often have large seed wings and some other floral characters that make them kind of a good morphological group of species to study. Since this is a biogeography talk, I'm going to show the kind of distribution of these species, starting first, since we're in Northern California right now, with the Northern California species. In Northern California, there are 3 species, and in Southern Oregon as well, which have relatively small geographic ranges. Moving south, there are another 3 species, with the largest range is in Streptanthus campestris, which kind of occurs in kind of mountains all the way into Baja. A species called Bernardinus, which is in Southern California mountains primarily. And then a species that I'm going to be working on describing from Tejon Rancho to Tehachapi Mountains. As you move further east, the howellii alliance contains the most widespread Streptanthus species, or taxon, which is Streptanthus chordatus. This is very atypical for Streptanthus. It occurs in 9 western states, widely distributed, and on its periphery, in California and in western Nevada, in the case of Oliganthus, there are 2 described entities that are kind of that are in the towards the edge of its range. One is Streptanthus chordatus variety pietensis. The other one is Oliganthus. To make sense of what's going on here, I'm in the process of looking at this in an evolutionary context. The conclusions there are that the Northern California species form a clade, so I'm happy about that. The Southern California species form a clade, and the new species from Tejon is shown as sister to Streptanthus bernardinus. And Streptanthus oliganthus plus Streptanthus chordatus form a clade. So it's actually a very nice, pretty clean evolutionary system for studying biogeography. To put this into a more biogeographic context, we see that the Southern California species and Streptanthus chordatus plus oliganthus are sister to one another. Those 2 species are sister to the species that are in Northern California. So, based on this, it's reasonable to conclude that California is the most likely area of origin for Streptanthus chordatus. Now, we think about that, we're like, wow, Streptanthus chordatus has a huge range, and it came out of California. So this is an out of California distribution, which I think is really darn cool. And it raises questions, some of which could be taxonomic in nature, so kind of figuring out what's going on and confirming the circumscription of already described species, maybe describing a new species on Tejon Ranch. The next thing is actually confirming using statistical models the area of origin of these species. And once we do that, we can actually ask these really what I think are super interesting questions. So what does this out of California pattern that we see in Streptanthus chordatus really mean for California? Specifically, is this kind of pattern, has this been seen in other groups in California? And if so, how common is it? And what does this really tell us about the evolution of certain lineages and species? But then, if we really want to get into what is really interesting, what I think is super interesting about this is that since we know that so many Streptanthus are rare, and it's a group where in California 30 of 35 species are listed by CNPS, what does it mean that this widespread species is the one that has been able to escape California? And I have some tentative hypotheses about what might be the origin of the widespread nature of chordatus, and that could be related to seed wing size, which is actually quite large in chordatus. Additionally, Streptanthus chordatus, you see this basal rosette. This is a pretty, it's a long-lived plant where most other Streptanthus are annuals, and even in the howellii alliance, most of the Streptanthus are actually less long-lived. And there could be other aspects of reproductive biology that may be at play here that is leading Streptanthus cordatus to actually be so widespread. 5 minutes exactly. Thank you very much.